Hi, I'm Amber Anderson over in Online Learning, and I am meeting with our Chelsea Day over in Student Success, which is on campus. And I want to kind of give her the floor and let her talk about what she does over in Student Success and what kind of struggles she notices with the students coming in and some tips and tricks. So welcome, Chelsea.
Thanks. So I am the success coach for the College of Health Professions, and in the meantime, also with the Barton School of Business. And so each academic college has its own success coach, but we all kind of help with the same things: time management, study skills, that kinds of stuff. And so mainly when it comes to finals, a lot of what we see students struggle with is like the prep work and the time management that goes into preparing. And so a couple of the biggest things that I tell students is to have a schedule, because no matter how great your study skills are, a lot of times it's the span of time that you allow those to work. And so I have a lot of students who are doing great studying, but they've waited, a day or two before the final happens. And so what we see is that dispersed or kind of study time that you go over content on Monday, and then we go back over it a little bit quicker on Wednesday, and then I see it again on Friday, and then my test is on Monday. That's going to help with moving that information from short-term to long-term memory. And so that really is something that needs to be done for like our students who are maybe doing another section exam. So it's over, the past couple of chapters. When it comes to some of the exams that are maybe, over everything that we've learned over the course of the semester, we want to make sure that we've had good notes to go over, so that we are consistently going over that content information and not just trying to like relearn everything in the span of a couple of days. One of the other things that I see a lot of is students who are doing a lot of repetition, and that is great. It's awesome. And so going over notes over and over again, rewriting your notes, going back over videos, that's good with like getting used to that content and having the visuals for the content. But a lot of times what we really need is recall. And so a lot of students don't test themselves. And if you don't know what you don't know, you're probably going to miss out on quite a bit of information. And one of the things I tell a lot of especially my nursing students and my dental hygiene students, is that we need to figure out what you don't know, because when we study, it feels good to study the stuff that we know. Yeah. We get kind of that good feedback of like, oh yeah, I got that. That's
yes, I'm doing great.
Right, exactly. But what happens is that we have this content over here that maybe we don't interact with as much because it's harder or because it's not as interesting sometimes. And that's really the stuff that you should be learning. I always tell students, I feel like I have a negative view on testing in that, yes, it's a great opportunity to show what you know, but a lot of times what we're losing points on is the stuff that we don't know. And so if you don't know what you need to study more of, kind of cover again, then you're going to end up missing quite a bit on your exams. And so with that, I tell students to just like take a blank sheet of paper and then kind of like dump everything that you think is going to be on that test after you've done a little bit of studying, and then bring your materials back. So not having them out in front of you, putting that away, writing out as much as you can, kind of do like a mind map, and then bringing your content back and seeing like, where did I miss big chunks of information? So that's probably what I need to go back and study and refresh myself on. And so that recall also helps with myelinating that pathway in your brain, so that whenever you are recalling, it's faster, we've got quicker responses, and it just comes easier. And so repetition doesn't always get us there. And so recreating diagrams, mind maps, flowcharts, all of those kinds of things from memory and then bringing back your materials to go over those again is a really good way to see what you do and don't know, test that out, and then kind of have a better understanding of like what else you need to study. So
What's
those
a
are a couple of the big things.
What's a small example of mind mapping? What does that mean?
Yeah. So if people remember like the brainstorming that you would do whenever you're writing an exam or not writing like a paper. So kind of like the outline process, but having that main thing in the middle and then little points that go out with extra information. And so like I will sometimes talk with my nursing students about like a specific illness. So that illness is our main piece. And then I want to know about the symptoms. I want to know what kinds of populations of people are more likely to experience this. What kind of medications do we need for this? What are warning signs? How can you make sure that, you know, you're not likely to experience this or have this illness, things like that. And so each of those are just little spindles that kind of come off where you give more information. And so very much looks kind of like just that web that you would create when you're writing papers or things like that. And so you can also recreate those from memory. And so if you create it one time and you kind of put it to the side or you study it for a little while and then give yourself another blank sheet, let's recreate that. And so a couple of summers ago, whenever we first were going through the beginning of COVID, I read a lot of memory technique books because I work with health profession students. And with that, a lot of what they were covering are some of these like memory techniques in that we need to recreate them. And your brain also remembers visuals a lot better than it just remembers lists of words. And so that's why diagrams, flowcharts are really good. So if I have, you know, decisions that I need to make, I've got this option or I've got this option. And so kind of doing some of those flowcharts can also be beneficial because of the visual that comes with it.
That's cool. I used to do a lot of memorization, and yes, I could regurgitate things, but I think holistically it was better for me I was really good at history because to me it was just storytelling. So I would be lost in a story, and that's how I would remember my essay questions on the test.
Yeah, there's a memory technique called the chain method or the story method. And it's one that I teach a lot of my students. And really what you're doing is you're recreating a story. And it really can help students if they are using things that are salient to them in their life. And so if you've got an Uncle Bob who did this thing, or, you know, something that like connects to your life, you're much more likely to remember those. There are a lot of stories or mnemonic devices or things like that that you can get off of, you know, the internet, but they don't click as well as if you had used your own kind of personal examples of things or created your own stories. And so if you need kind of ideas, go Google them, but then try and kind of create some that are going to work for yourself and in your life kind of experiences, because it just makes them stick a whole lot better.
Totally. Do you guys have, do you have an outline of this on your website, and where would students go if they wanted to find these ideas?
Yeah, so we have some of the resources on our wichita.edu/success webpage, and they can also meet with some of the folks in the Sharker Learning Center. We've got really good peer students who can help over there. You can always connect with your success coach. So the success coaches have all shared some of our memory techniques, study techniques, that kinds of stuff. And so you're definitely going to be better off if you meet with your success coach just to see like, what am I doing? Am I covering good things? Do I have, you know, kind of the basics of everything? And then on the flip side of that, they might give some suggestions. But the other thing that I tell people is don't completely like overhaul everything at one time. I always give my students a couple of disclaimers, and in those disclaimers, there's usually something about like, choose one or two kinds of things to change so that whatever we do change is sustainable. Going from semester to semester, there's always going to be tips and tricks that you can pick up. And so even if it's not something that, greatly benefits you this semester, it can benefit you the next semester. And so we want any of those kinds of habits that we pick up to be good, sustainable habits. And so usually trying to change one or two of those. Don't try and overhaul everything, because usually I don't see really great results when that happens. So
yeah,
that's always
overwhelming. It's like too much information.
Right, exactly.
Okay, well, thank you so much for spending some time with me, and good luck on finals, guys.
Thanks. Yeah, good luck. And thanks, Amber.